It took me a minute to figure out which book, but we are continuing our milestone catch-up with Hardware, Season 1, Issue Number 1. And we'll always continue with a creative team check. If you read Static Season 1, you got a taste of this story, but before we get too far into it, we want to flash back to a bright-eyed 3-year-old Curtis Metcalf who is a little young to understand real-life situations, but his dad was there to make sure that he soaked in whatever bit of reality he could take in at the time. Fast forward to today, and most of you know this story by now. There was a peaceful protest, police got involved, there was an untested and unstable chemical used in the process, people died, people got hurt, and people were also changed forever. And one of the people's lives who was changed forever wasn't even there. That's Curtis Metcalf, the man who would become known as Hardware, who had been framed for everything that went wrong that day, and is now being hunted by the police. Aided by this AI in his suit named POP, we'll get to that later, Curtis escapes, but he also has to blow up his entire building and is faced with the reality of having to start over after he gets away. Because not only is he facing boots on the ground, he's facing birds in the air. And this isn't going to be so easy. Elsewhere, Edwin Alvo, CEO of Alvo Industries, is talking to a detective who says that he has all kinds of evidence that Curtis Metcalf is at the bottom of the catastrophe known as the Big Bang. And Alvo puts on this amazing front in public. He runs down his history with Curtis since about 10 years old, knowing that he was super smart and put all kinds of resources, all kinds of push behind Curtis to make him the man he is today. But in Alvo's words, he noticed later on, when Curtis didn't get exactly what he wanted, he got greedy. He pushed too much. He wasn't happy, and one of the results of this unhappiness was the Big Bang incident. In Alvo's words, what the public is saying now is the real Curtis Metcalf. Back outside, Hardware's a little banged up, but not too bad. But what I want you to notice, and maybe most people picked up on this before I did, but the AI, POP, says, "Wake up, son, wake up." Curtis actually has his father for his Hardware AI, and that's pretty cool. And he wakes up just in time because more birds were on the way, and they weren't there to fire warning shots. And despite all the resistance, Hardware does catch up to Alva, but Alva doubles down on how important he is to Curtis and how Curtis would be nothing without him. Even going so far as to call Curtis son of a nothing father and son of a nothing mother. And I guess those were the words that pushed him over the top because Curtis burst in. But Curtis isn't there to take Alva out. Curtis is there with a warning. He is going to take Alva down and take everything from Alva because that's what he deserves. And in the words of both men, we'll see who made who. And that was issue 1 of Hardware, season number 1.